Hello everybody, welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe. People of Earth, welcome to a brand new build. And today on the bench, we have got the NPC Commlock and stun gun from Space 1999. Now, this is a kit that has been around a long time. I think originally in 75, repopped in 2021, something like that. I don't know. It's been a bunch of these re-registered copyrights based on what I can see in the instructions. But anyway, as I was going through the stash and thinking about what I wanted to build, it dawned on me that so often we sit at the bench and we go, look, we're going to build this and we're going to do that and do this and do that. And we have all these aftermarket parts and we can do this and we can do that and we can do this. Well, it dawned on me that some of you may be thinking, okay, but you know, how do you use the parts that actually are sent to you? Forget augmenting or changing or adjusting those. How were they intended to be used in the kit? So I thought this build will be dedicated to using some aftermarket parts, some masks from the great AZTEK Dummy, Lou Del Mesa. I've got a lighting kit from Randy Newbert over at Voodoo Effects, and I've got some aftermarket aluminum turnings. And I picked those up at Wonderfest. Now, I promise you, by the time this video comes out, I'm going to do my darndest to remember the name of the company. And if I can't, I know a bunch of you out there will put it in the comments or send me an email. It's sprueverse@gmail.com. But I think I should be able to remember. But I'm just embarrassed to say, at this time of filming this, I can't find the business card. But, you know, that's the story of my life. Okay, so we're going to start with the Commlock first. Because here's the front of the Commlock. There's a back panel that clicks in. And then there is the part that drops into the bottom here, and that will hold the handle. And the thing about it is it was very nicely designed because they thought about the idea of you wanting to add lights and sound to this. So that's why it's been designed the way it has. So there are buttons that go into these elements as well as these, and then there's some clear parts as well. And there were some chrome covered parts that came with the kit. Now, I'm not going to use those. This is where the aluminum turned parts come into play. Here's the part that comes with the kit, and here's the aluminum turned part. It's quite a difference, and it will make quite a difference. And as you can see already, you know, the clip goes in the back, and the aluminum turned base to the handle goes on, and all of a sudden this starts to feel a lot more substantial. And we've also got a couple of buttons for the front of the piece here. We've got one here, and we've got a second one, and I believe that actually they might go here. Let's see here. Yep, they might go there like this, and they do. So they're going to go there. So you can see that we've got already a substantial upgrade to the kit with these parts, with the aluminum turned parts. So that's number one. So that means that can go away. The next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at Randy Newbert's lighting kit. Now, this is everything you get in the bag. Let me pull this over here, and we'll organize this here. This is everything you get in the bag. So for the inventory, and we'll go through the inventory as we look at the schematic here. Okay, so you get a battery box. Here's the battery box, and it holds AA batteries, so total of 6 volts. there. Here's the battery box. It'll hold 6 volts. He doesn't want you going any more than 5 volts, but 6 is fine, which is why he gives you this box. You get a roll of ribbon wire. You get a speaker. You get several pieces of shrink tubing. You get a momentary switch, a black one, which I really appreciate, because most of the time when they get, when you get sent aftermarket lighting kits, they're red. I don't know why, but that might have something to do with the sort of Trek universe wanting it to be red rather than black. I don't know. But there's the momentary switch, a very sort of basic momentary switch. You get a board. Here's the board. And it's an Adafruit board. And it has, it also powers up your sound as well. So it controls the lights and the sound. You get some pins here, which are for offsetting. So you can attach these to the board. You attach these to the board, and you can essentially, it allows you to offset, so you're not attaching directly to the board itself, although you certainly can. So he provides those to you. He also provides 2 additional plugins for, I believe this is for power, and also to drive the LED. Let's see here. Actually, that's not true. One is for the speaker, and the other one is not called out on here. But we'll take a look at the wiring diagram again. But you get there were 2 in the box. There were 2 of these in the box. You get an LED, and this is for your Commlock screen. Now, the idea is that you can either build a scratch-built light box, or he gives you a free STL file you can download and print yourself, either in PLA or in resin. And that light box will allow you to attach this LED to a shadow box under here, so that when you put in your diffusion, here's your diffusion, and you put your decal on top of it, that creates your screen. And obviously you've got this offset here, and this offset allows you to create some distance. And if you want to, you can leave this loose so that you can change out your screens. Now, I do believe that there are some transparencies, some aftermarket transparencies you can get. And I don't have one with me as we're filming this. I'm just going to go ahead and use the decal sheet that's provided for us, because that's the object of the exercise, is just to use the parts that you have. And that's what I have. You get a resistor for that LED, an inline resistor. And here that is. And the final thing you get is an on-off switch, which will control the sound. It'll power on the sound and the light. Now the light will go on, and then the sound card, the sound grabs will be controlled by the momentary switch. So every time you push one, you'll get a new grab. Now, in Randy's call out, what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to, and I'm going to show you this now, you are supposed to, let's see here, you are supposed to let's see here. Let's go to build blog. Here we go. Okay, this is very helpful. So what you're supposed to do is sort of follow his build blog, which is really helpful. It shows you that you have to drill some holes into the side of the Commlock, which I've already done. I've pre-drilled those holes. And it also wants you to essentially create a slot for your switches. Now it shows you here your sort of how it is installed. But what is most important is if you look here, you will notice that the switch and the momentary switch are going to be cut into the rear plate. So we're going to cut them into here. Now again, just to reiterate, I'm going to build this the way it is asked of you to build it. That doesn't mean this is the way you have to build it, and there are some other ways to do it, more creative ways. In fact, you know, you can even make these buttons. You can make these buttons sort of active if you want to. But that's not the object of this exercise. If I build this again, I certainly may even try to do that. But I want to just build this out of the box the way these aftermarket parts were intended to be used. And Randy did it this way. So that's the way we're going to do it. And you're going to have to cut, there they are, you're going to have to cut a couple of holes in the back. One is a square and one is a circle for the momentary switch. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to drill out those two slots, and they will drop in so that we can put our switch in and our momentary switch. And they're hidden, interestingly enough, they're hidden in the back. So when we look at this, here's, I've just put the aluminum turned clip in. Obviously, you put one on one side of that clip, and you put your momentary switch on the other. You don't want to drill it under there because you wouldn't be able to reach it. So that's what we're going to do, and that is what we're working with there. Now, I also have in my possession the AZTEK Dummy masking set, which is really a cool set. Check this out. So in Lou's set for the Commlock and the stun gun, it's AD74, by the way, and you're going to be able to go to Colt TV Man and pick these up. That's where they're available. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can always reach Lou at aztekdummy@att.net, or you can check him out on YouTube. But he's going to provide you with all of the vinyl for your stun gun. He also provides you with masks for your buttons, and he also provides you with your numbers for your black buttons, and masks to cover and color everything else. And he also gives you some vinyl pieces that are just little detail pieces that you put on, cleverly you put on as indicated here, and they come with your masking set. The thing I like about that is you could try 1,000 times and you're never going to get that as perfect as his vinyl overlays will get. It's going to look beautiful. So there it is, and it comes in an envelope, depending on where you were schooled, and that looks like this. There it is. So that's what you're asking for, the Commlock and Stun Gun masking set. And if you are interested in stimulating the economy, you'll get 2. No, the reason why I bought 2 is, or have 2, is because I will build this again, because at some point my intention is to make each one of these buttons active and use a real screen in the top. Oh yes, that's I've been saving parts for that, but I didn't want to do that here. That's not the object of this exercise. I just wanted to have some fun with this. Now, the only other thing is, as I said, you know, you're putting in this, you're drilling these holes, which I've done here so that you can get sound out of your speaker, and I've done that. Now, the part that comes with the kit looks like this. It looks like that. And you can also cut yourself a piece of aluminum or aluminium, which is the same size, and that would look like this, and you could lay that down. Or you can get some screen material, which is what I'm going to use in this build, frame it up and paint it silver. And what I like about this notion is, while it is absolutely not canon, I think it's going to look a lot cleaner, because even though I do have a drill press and I started playing with this, I could put hundreds of holes in this, but it's not going to look neat. It's not going to be perfect. Now, it could be if I had the next 45 years to put some magnifying eyes on, get out my drill press, line this all up, and go to town on it. You could absolutely do that. You could even probably even create a template that you could lay over this and just follow the template and drill. But that's not what I'm doing. But I wanted to show you what came with the kit and a couple of ideas. So, okay, I've got my Voodoo Effects lighting kit. I've got my kit. I've got my aftermarket turned aluminum parts, and I've got my AZTEK Dummy masking set. So we are good to go. Okay, I'm gonna solder my LED now. I'm gonna put the resistor on it, and I'm gonna get it all insulated. Let's take a look at how I did that. Okay, so we put the LED in a pair of helping hands to help hold it steady. Once we've done that, we simply put the resistor to the positive side of the LED, touch it with a little bit of solder very quickly, and you can see we've got a lovely join there. After we've done that, we simply flip it over, and we're going to attach the negative side now to the LED. Once we've done that, I slip a little bit of shrink wrap tubing over it so that we don't have any risk of a short. And then I add a little flame to that. Please be careful when you're doing this. I choose to do it this way because it's easier. Now you can flip it over, add your positive lead, and once you've added your positive lead, you can simply check, and voila. So it's running through its
emergency operation exodus.
Its paces now. That's a cool one. And obviously, every time you hit the momentary switch, you get another one.
Insufficient data available under prevailing circumstances.
Very good. So, the board is working, and when you kill the power, it fades down. So everything is working. So we now have our soundboard, and our TV light. Everything is connected. So we are good to go. I'm working on some of the clear parts now, and I've been looking at this image, of a Commlock. And what I'm focused on is the clear lensed buttons. Here you see on the top sort of left side of this, just above obviously the call out numbers, you've got what looks like a clear white and a clear red. And then on the other side, it's hard to tell, but from some of the images I see a clear green. I see a green, and I see another white. So what I'm doing is I am adding to the back of the top part, I'm adding a piece of some diffused plastic card. Very easily available. It's sort of a milky card. And I'm just holding it in place. I cut it to size, and now I'm just holding it in place with a little microcrystal clear. And that will take care of the white. So I'll flip it over so that we can see that. I think you'll agree that's a nice effect, and it looks very crisp. I'm going to hit the bottom one with, to me, a clear red, and that'll take care of that one. And then on the smaller ones, I'll do a green, and I will cut a small piece of card for the white again there. And that will take care of the clear parts on this. Everything else on this is paintable. So between the AZTEK Dummy masks and his vinyl that he gives you for your numbers, the digital display, and also the details he gives you in black for some of these other elements. If we look again at you can see there's a square, there's a bold letter C, and then there's the numbers. The decals at the bottom that's provided for you. And of course we've got some chrome. Then there's a couple of little round circles above the chrome button at the very top, just under the screen. So lots of little details, but I think it's going to make a huge difference to how this looks. And I understand they'll do specialty work as well. Hey, I get nothing for saying that other than the joy of sharing it with you, and you get to go explore and find these awesome things for your kids. Okay, so I'm going to carry on here. I'm going to get my clear parts painted up, and then I'm going to get a final coat on my Commlock body, and then I'm going to get some black on here. Let's look at this again so that we can see what I'm doing. We're going to hit the buttons with the black, so we'll do that. The 4 side buttons, which are gray, I'm going to paint 3 of those white, and 1 looks to be a bone white. I will paint that. And then the buttons at the bottom are black. Okay, so that's what we're doing. I'm going to get these clear parts painted up. I'm going to get a final coat on the body of this thing, and we should be ready for assembly, and then we can do decals. So it's now time to start installing the Voodoo Effects lighting kit into our Commlock. And the first thing that we're actually going to do is tackle this back plate. Now, as I've mentioned earlier, there's a myriad of ways to do this. One of the probably one of the cooler ways would be to cut all of these buttons into individual pieces, so that they individually and put touchpad buttons behind them, and so each one of these could actually be addressable. That would probably be a very cool way to go. But I'm just going with the basic lighting kit, which actually does two things. It has an on and off switch in the back plate here, and so we've cut that in just as it was explained in the instructions that come with the kit. And we've also drilled a hole for our momentary switch that's going to activate all of our sound. And then, of course, we have drilled some holes into where the speaker grid goes. The piece that comes with the kit is like this. And yes, you can try to drill it out. I didn't have a lot of success doing that because I didn't have a way to make these super uniform, and I didn't like the plastic anyway. So I went ahead and fabricated my own, I should say. And that is going to sit on there like that. So I should have plenty of sound for my speaker, which is going to be hidden inside. But the first thing it wants us to do is it actually wants us to install the back plate. And so I'm looking at this build blog that comes with the kit, and specifically I'm looking at how the elements attach inside. And you can see quite clearly in this picture that the board itself sits on top of the battery, and that is in the lower portion. And then if we look at this particular drawing here, or this piece here, you get a really nice look at how all the elements go together. So what I have to do is I have to attach my momentary switch to the back plate here, and I'm going to do that right now. Let's do that right now. So that comes off, and it simply, we feed that through like this. Then we put the locking washer back on, and the nut goes back over that, and that attaches to the back plate. And I'm finger tightening mine, but you could certainly, I have a pair of pliers here. I can carefully just give this a little beyond finger, so that has no way of slipping out. And that's your momentary switch connected. And bear in mind that we've got the battery clip, I should say the belt clip, not the battery clip. Excuse me. That's going to go on the back here, so it sort of hides it. So you're not really going to see that. I mean, it's sort of, you're going to hold this away from you anyway. So, but anyway, I'm again just following the lead of how this was recommended we install. So the switch simply attaches to the wall with a little of the Cool Shot hot glue, low temp glue, and should be more than enough to hold this. We'll make double sure that it is by just simply putting a little more over the top like this. It doesn't have to it doesn't have to carry a huge load. So that is what the switch and momentary switch looks like. The aluminum clip will eventually be glued there, and that will complete that portion of it. Now what we have to do now is we have to now get the guts of this into here. But before we do, I have a little bit of housekeeping to do. I've got to get a decal on this screen before I put my shadow box behind it, which is gonna light it up and hopefully diffuse a little bit of it. We have to make a decision now about what we're doing. Are we doing a face, a TV screen face, or are we just doing this which says Commlock? I kind of like the idea of just putting Commlock on there rather than a face. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. The one thing I am doing is I'm using loose decals on the numbers because they're nice and crisp and they're vinyl and they're going on really well. So I'm going to continue to use loose vinyl on the numbers. He supplies it, so why not? Okay, let's get a decal on here. But there's a couple of things I wanted to sort of go over. The first thing is I have chosen to use the sort of startup decal because I just think it's, you know, for me it's generic, but after watching several episodes of the show, it's interesting when you really pay attention to this prop, this Commlock. Obviously, there were a couple of hero ones, and then there were these dummies, and the dummies often didn't look so good. And in fact, in the second episode of the first season, Martin Landau's Commlock doesn't look so great. It's on his belt, and there's a couple of moments. I mean, this sounds like I'm being completely anal, but it's fun. Where you see some of the buttons are missing, actually from the plate in front, and things are just don't look nice. I think they think, well, who's gonna? It's, you know, it's on his belt. It just needs to be on his belt. No one's gonna be looking at it. Well, most people aren't, unless you're trying to reconstruct something, right? And then we all of a sudden start paying ridiculous amounts of attention to the background and not watching the plot. It's pretty funny. Okay, so. As you know, Randy does provide a free STL file for a standoff, sort of a shadow box, if you were, that you can actually put in the back of your Commlock. He calls for it. If you do not have a printer and you have no way of printing this, I don't think you're lost, because Randy works with 8K miniatures. Sean over there. Hey, you know, if you're a customer, he might just throw this in with he might throw it in for you. So you're not lost if you don't have this. You can certainly scratch build your own. It's not complicated, and it just is a few pieces of card and you're off to the races. But anyway, I give you options. Okay, but what I did was I added some diffusion card to the back of my standoff box, and you get this. And what that does is when you do that, and you take just a little bit of, I took just a little bit of 400 sponge, and you give your LED just a little bit of a love rub there, like that. You get a serious amount of diffusion, and it works very well, and it has a certain level of credibility to it. So I was very happy with that. So I just wanted to share those elements to you before I go ahead and install it. The other thing I wanted to show you, which is really quite interesting. So this is the piece that comes with the kit, and I tried unsuccessfully with a drill press, with a mini drill press, but my eyesight isn't that great, and even though I tried to follow the lines, I got it perfect in some places and not in others. Now, this is a piece of plastic. You could certainly take all all of this chrome paint off of it and start again. You could make the holes bigger, and if you are a little more inclined to be a little neater, I bet you could do a good job with this if that's what you so choose to do. The next thing I tried to do was I got myself a piece of sort of scrap tin that I think came with this disastrous attempt at a wooden Spitfire. But anyway, I kept all the tin, and I'm glad I did. I cut a piece to size, and I got this. And the square was perfect, but when I went to start drilling it, look at that. It's a dog's breakfast. Didn't work. And then I said to you guys, guys, I'm going to scratch build myself something. And I showed you this. Aren't I clever? And I did this with a piece, just a little piece of screen. And I just framed it. Not terrible. It's not terrible at all. And in fact, it lays down quite nicely. Not bad, right? However, while I was looking at an episode, I got a close-up of what the grill looks like. And it looks like this. And what is this? It's just a piece of breadboard that I've sprayed silver. And do you know what? Look at this. It's identical to what's on screen. That is a result. And it doesn't even have a frame around it, which I thought was really interesting. But what I love about the breadboard is these wonderful metallic sort of imprints to the board that allow you to solder wires to it and create connectivity. But boy, do they add a level of depth to this screen. So I now have a result. Okay, so I've taken you through the history of the speaker screen, more information than most of you needed, but I think it's fun, right? Come on. I mean, this is what we all do. And when you're scratch building and you can come up with a solution to a problem, awesome. Okay, so I am now ready to assemble everything and put the guts into this. And I'm following the instructions or the blog link that Randy is kind enough to give you to sort of show me how this is all put together. So that's how we're going to put this together. And then we're going to start concentrating on the outside of this thing, which I've started to do. I've started to put the AZTEK Dummy letters, vinyl letters on here, and boy, are they fantastic. So that is, look how crisp that is. So that's terrific too. So I'm going to put 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know where 0 is, but hey, far be it from me to question the production team. We're going to get that done. And then we're going to start looking at final assembly, and then we can take a look at this thing. And I think what I'm probably going to do is the stun gun in a separate build, because the actual wiring harness for that is a little more complicated. Not for those of you who are comfortable with wiring, but for those of us who still, bless our hearts, just struggle just an incy-tinsy bit. You know, it's going to be a great learning lesson for me. Now, I know there's a bunch of you out there who will go, Phil, it's just a few LEDs. And, you can do that yourself. You don't need Randy's lighting kit. And I say, nay, nay. I say, you stimulate the economy and go get Randy's kit. No, you know what? It's all there for you. By the time you've sourced everything and you've tried to figure it out. Yes, if you have a stash of stuff, awesome. Go with God, you can certainly do it. But he's worked it all out for those of us who don't want to think that hard. Because if you've ever followed any of my builds, when I try too hard at my electrics, sometimes I have an uncanny ability to fail. But this is really helpful, and it's fun. it's fun. It's another element. It's another component to the build process that I think is really valuable. Okay, enough yapping. Let me put this. Let me put this together now. And if I have any issues with it, I'll let you know. Okay. We are dangerously close. We've got to just slide. There's a little catch here, and I'm hoping that I can make that slide in, and I can. This all lines up, which it does, and then the turned aluminum piece that you get from Mike's Machinery goes on the bottom, and that's what holds everything together for you. You don't. It goes on quite snug. You don't have to force it on too far. It's not going anywhere. But there it is. So it's all together. Let me just quickly make sure everything is working. Screen is turned on, and very good. Great fun. Very cool. Okay, and you can just keep on going. I've turned it off. So now, what's left to do is add loose vinyl to this. And he does give us some instructions, and they are very easy to follow. Here them is. And so we're going to, first thing we're going to do is find the box that goes next to the red button. And it's right here. It's right here. So I'm going to see if this pulls off gently here. And it does. Just wanted to do one on camera. I'm going to take my tweezers here because I don't want to damage the vinyl, and I'm going to see if I can push this out. Now sometimes the vinyl doesn't cut all the way through. If you run into that issue, it's not a problem. Get a piece of the backing of the vinyl that he gives you. Just lay it back down on there so you don't lose any of its stick. These are quite tacky. And then all you're going to do is you're going to just remove that piece of vinyl. We'll find a corner that'll come up. They can be a little, they can be this one's being a little bit of a pill, but it's okay. They'll come. There it is. There it is. And you just got to be very careful with it because it's vinyl. I mean, it's going to take a little bit of punishment, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't want to come, don't force it, Phoebe. Just go back in with your trusted number 11. Make sure it's nice and sharp, and just give it a little bit of coaxing. And it will come through it free. There it is. There it is. Now, I mean, there it is. Very important I show you that on camera because you want to be careful. You don't want to, you don't want to beat it up. But by the same token, the vinyl is pretty resilient, but you do have to be patient with it. And you want to line it up just about here. Okay, let me make sure that looks pretty good. I'm seeing there's just a little bit of schmutz in this corner. There. I think that's off. Hard to tell with my terrible eyes. There we go. And just nudge that into position like that. Now you can see that little bit of smudge right there. It came right off with my Q-tip. You don't have to stick anything sharp in there and ruin your paint surface. It came right off. And you can't do that nicely, in my opinion. You cannot do it that nicely with just paint. You certainly can, and I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying for me, it's not easy. Okay, I'm going to continue with all of my little pieces, and then we'll take a look at it. We'll take a look at it completed. I'll get some beauty shots of it, and then we'll talk about it. Because there's a lot to talk about here, I think. And we'll do the stun gun in a separate build. Okay, let me just get this all on. It's going to take me 15-20 minutes just to make sure it's all lined up and clean. And then we'll do a final presentation. I have an idea for display. I'm not sure if it's going to work. We'll take a look. And here she is, the Commlock from Space 1999. This is an MPC kit, still out there, still available. And I used some aftermarket stuff, the Voodoo Effects lighting kit, and of course, AZTEK dummy masks. So it's always fun when you can find relatively one-to-one scaled props that are weapons and communicators. Sadly, for whatever reason, the Star Trek line never did that. What came out was this rather underscaled kind of toy-like threesome of the tricorder communicator and phaser. But MPC did us proud with this comlink, and of course the stun gun is part of this kit. And if you were a fan of the series and want to sort of round out your collection of eagles, and there's even a diorama of the Moonbase Alpha itself, and of course we've got these, and they are full-sized hand props, really, and they're beautifully done. And what I really appreciated is the fact that they thought about letting you light this or play with it, and there are some wonderful representations of this online. Obviously, the buttons here, you can break these buttons up, and you can get them to individually turn on sounds, and that's fun too. But this kit that comes from Randy Newbert over at Voodoo Effects offers you the ability to trigger the sound effects and get that screen lit up, and I think that's more than enough for me. And he has cleverly hidden the actuation of this effects kit, lighting kit, from the back. Let me take it off its stand here for a second, and we can take a look at that. It's a beautiful rendition, and of course Michael's machinery. I'll leave information on that in the description below, but that's where these turned parts came from. Really nice. They add some authenticity to this and some credibility. The belt clip, the speaker or the microphone, and of course your turnings, which really make a difference. And then of course Lou's AZTEK Dummy masks, which here are an absolute game changer. Your black stripes here, which leave a which you know, finish this off perfectly, I think. And then of course the little indicators, the square, the circle, the C, and the two circles at the top, really difficult to do. And of course, when you are using decals, you do run the risk of those things ultimately fading away, especially there's something like this that you really want to play with. So we turn it on or we turn it off from this switch here, and then the momentary switch turns on your sounds. And I was thrilled to find this relatively screen accurate way of creating a speaker cover, and that's just a little piece of breadboard, and we talked about that. So here are some sounds. I'll stop talking and we'll listen to those for a second. Great fun, great fun, and you know, clever the way Randy designed that. Very clever. Okay, so here it is, the MPC Commlock. I will do the stun gun in a different episode, only because the sort of the real impetus for doing this is not just to sort of have these in my collection, which is awesome, but I think it's to showcase some of the aftermarket skilled craftsmen out there who are offering things to you. And Randy's lighting kits offer you an opportunity to really bring these to light. It has nothing to do with whether you can or can't do it yourself, or whether you choose not to buy these. That's not the object of the exercise. It's just to make you aware, and if you are aware, to show you how these things go into the kit, in case you're thinking about doing that at some other time. So there it is. As I said, the Commlock, which I'm thrilled to have in my collection now. Hey, if you want to get a hold of me, I'm spruverse@gmail.com. You can follow my In the Weeds posts. I'm usually doing something every day. On Instagram, I'm at Spruverse, and occasionally on TikTok when I've got something that I feel like I want to animate and come alive. But as always, I wish all of you, please be safe, be well. Come on, build something. Let's build something. And I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Be well.